Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Radhastami Mahotsav ki jai, Gaur Premanande, all glories to the Son of God, all glories to the Son of God, all glories to the Son of God, all glories to Shri Guru and Gaur. Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Devasthana Mandir. Wonderful gift given to us by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And He gave for us this most beautiful Shri Shri Radha Kunj Vihari days, which we are relishing in great enthusiasm. I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here. I'm just trying to turn off this curtains. There, so I'm not speaking over Srila Prabhupada. So, we're very fortunate to be able to relish this most glorious appearance day of Srimati Radharani under the shelter and guidance of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who established for us these Radha Kunjvihari deities, and establish for us the process by which we can observe Radhastami. So we'll try to follow how He is instructed and guiding us. So one question, anybody is anxious to receive Radharani's mercy today? And one request, come closer. Why is everybody so far back? The deities are here. Don't come close to me, but come closer. Everybody's sitting in the back. Please come close, take beautiful darshan, as close as possible, and enjoy this very special darshan today. We'll just chant invocation and then begin our discussion from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nastapayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki.
So today we'll read a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and then discuss a little bit about the pastimes of and the appearance of Srimati Radharani and what it means to us. So we'll read from Canto 10, chapter number 30, text number 28. This is actually the only verse in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam in which Srimati Radharani is referenced. And actually, she is not even mentioned directly, but through an indirect reference. She is indicated. So we'll read this verse and then discuss a little bit. Anayana Nitamhunam Bhagavan Harishvara Yano Vihaya Govida Prito Yam Anayadupam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Certainly, this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead, Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. Purport. Srila Vishnu Thakur explains that the word Radhika refers to Srimati Radharani. He comments, the sage Shukadeva Goswami has tried with all endeavor to keep her name hidden, but now it automatically shines forth from the moon of his mouth. That he has spoken her name is indeed her mercy, and thus the word Radhika is like the rumbling of a kettle drum sounded to announce her great good fortune. Although the gopis speak as if jealous of Srimati Radharani, they were actually ecstatic to see that she had encountered Lord Shri Krishna. Srila Vishnu Thakur quotes the following detailed description of Srimati Radharani's footprint as given by Srila Rupa Goswami in his sheet Ujjvala Nilamani. At the base of the large toe of her left foot is the mark of a barleycorn. Below the mark is a disc. Below the disc is an umbrella, and below the umbrella is a bracelet. A vertical line extends from the middle of her foot to the juncture of her large and second toes. At the base of the middle toe is a lotus. Below that is a flag with a banner. And below the flag is a creeper together with a flower. At the base of her small toe is an elephant goat. And upon her heel is a half moon. Thus there are 11 marks on her left foot. At the base of the large toe of her right foot is a conch shell. And below that a spear. At the base of the small toe of her right foot is a sacrificial altar. Below that an earring. And below the earrings a spear. Along the base of the second, third, fourth, and small toes is a mark of a mountain, below which is a chariot, and on the heel is a fish. Thus altogether there are 19 distinguishing marks on the soles of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Vinamaya Mudati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuddha Padamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sajajatam Sargana Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganata Shri Vishakamitam Hey Krishna Karunasindhu Dinavato Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Bhakta Jadona Giri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvamanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome to the Radhastami Mahotsav. Anybody here celebrating Radhastami for the first time? And anybody here at the temple for the first time? Welcome. Congratulations. You picked an extraordinary arrangement. Where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? Where? So, we'll discuss the appearance of the glorious Srimati Radharani. This is not a topic that is very easily discussed, nor should it be discussed very casually. It is a very serious matter, and it should be discussed in a very systematic way. And so I pray for all of your blessings that I will be able to follow in the footsteps of our Guru Parampara and discuss this Radhastami in those lines so that we can obtain some knowledge of it. Discussing Srimati Radharani, she is such an exalted personality. One has to be very, very careful in how one
her appearance. Just like if one is attempting to go to the sun planet, if one doesn't have the right body, the right equipment, they'll very easily become burned to ashes. Similarly, without the appropriate following in the footsteps and purity, discussing Srimati Radharani can burn us very quickly. We're going to try to avoid being burned today. Hopefully we have a fire extinguisher available. We'll pray to Srila Prabhupada that we hear how he has described this glorious position of Srimati Radharani. And we cannot emphasize enough how exalted she is, and how also we must be extraordinarily careful, what conclusions we draw when we hear about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Because actually, Swarup Damodar Goswami describes very eloquently that the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are very, very exalted and very high. And unless one has great purity of heart, we will misunderstand it. Just like children in a home, right? When mother and father have to have some really important dialogue, they have it privately. Why? Because the children are not able to comprehend and understand. It may bewilder them, it may confuse them, it may scare them. So those so similarly, at least speaking for myself in my childish state, one has to be very cautious and careful in understanding the pastimes of Srimati Radharani. That said, she is an extraordinarily important person to all of us in our process of devotional service. So while we have to be careful, we should also get very close and not be fearful. Because ultimately, she is our mother, our eternal mother. We have had millions of mothers traversing this material world. But we have one eternal mother. And that is Srimati Radharani. Because our eternal Father is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. And he establishes this in the Bhagavad Gita's name, Aham Bija Pradapita. I am the seed giving. So who is Radharani? Let us discuss this first topic. Who is Radharani? And then we'll discuss what is her role in our progress in devotional life. Okay? So who is Radharani? We know our initial conclusions, we see boy, girl. We see husband, wife. We see lover, love. Like that. But that is not who Radha Krishna. Again, Srila Damodar Goswami explains to us that Radha Krishna are one manifested in two. One manifested in two. They are inseparable. Inasmuch as you cannot separate heat from fire. There's no concept of fire without heat. In that way, there's no concept of Krishna without Radharani, and no concept of Radharani without Krishna. So that we can understand. They're actually one manifested in two. And so how is that the case? So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has this desire to enjoy, to be happy. Let me ask you, how many of you want to be happy? How many of you want to enjoy? Do we want to enjoy all the time, some of the time, a little bit of time? All the time. And do we want that enjoyment to come easily or very difficult? Easily. Well, where is this desire? Why is it that every single living entity has this single common desire? You'll not find anyone who woke up this morning wanting to be unhappy. Some of you are chuckling because I always ask this question. Anybody woke up today wanting to be unhappy? No. It never happens. We are all bound by this common thread. Why? Even the ants and the birds and the bees, they all want to be happy. Why? Because Krishna has that desire. everything comes from Krishna. Because Krishna has this desire to enjoy, we also, being his part and parcel, have that same desire. Now, our understanding of how to enjoy, we have become confused. And that is why if I ask my next question, anybody finds enjoyment 100% of the time? Even 50% of the time? Why? Because we have made one fundamental mistake that Srimati Radharani is going to help us correct. File that away for a moment. We come back to now, who is Srimati Radharani? So Krishna has this desire to enjoy. Thus we have the desire to enjoy. So one of Krishna's energies is his pleasure potency. His Halanini Shakti is the technical term, that's not so relevant. But what's relevant is Krishna has this energy, this potency to enjoy. So when Krishna desired to enjoy, that potency emerged from him and manifested as Srimati Radharani. So she is the personification of Krishna's pleasure potency. She has only one function. And what is that function? To give Krishna happiness. And Krishna has only one function. To give Radharani happiness. But this is Krishna's energy manifested in person. And our acharyas comment that there is no difference between the energy and the energetic. Can you separate sunshine from the sun planet? There one and the same. So like that. So Radha and Krishna, they are one manifesting two. And we should carry this lens every time we hear pastimes of Krishna with Srimati Radha. Because sometimes we get into these sort of distorted concepts of boy and girl, lover and loved. And what happens is it bewilders us. So we should understand one manifested in two. And for the purpose of giving Krishna's happiness. And what's fascinating is Krishna is all attractive. He's all attractive. It means everything that we find attractive in the world, where does it come from? It comes from the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So whatever we find attractive, it exists in full in Krishna. So, but still Krishna has this amazing feature that Srimati Radharani is so potent that Krishna is attracted to her. Excuse me. Yes, Krishna is attracted to her. We see this bhajan by Rupa Goswami, right? Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Madhava Daite. And Srimati Radharani is so dear to Krishna. So the all-attractive Supreme Krishna is attracted to Srimati Radharani. And this is one of her amazing potencies. But that potency, again, is coming from Krishna. Kind of hard for us to understand, right? I'll take you to a step further. Srimati Radharani, her devotion to Krishna is so extraordinary that she achieves this happiness, this bliss that's beyond compare. And her happiness is so extraordinary that Krishna himself cannot understand the extent of her happiness. Now, how Krishna, the all-supreme Lord, cannot understand something? This is the mystery of bhakti, of devotional service. and thus he comes back as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to experience this world. So again, so this is just a brief understanding of who is Srimati Radharani. Now, she appears in this world at the request of Krishna. Actually, when Krishna tells Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world, I'm going to the material world to perform some pastimes, I'm paraphrasing, she says, good luck, enjoy, I'm not going anywhere. She says, I'm not going. No, you have to go. If I'm going, you have to come with me. I cannot be without you. Remember, heat and fire, they don't separate. So, it is by the grace of Srimati Radharani that we actually have the opportunity to experience Govardhan, Yamuna, and Vrindavan and Braj. Because she said, unless Govardhan is going, unless the Yamuna is going, unless Braj is going, I'm not going. So Krishna actually manifests all of these on this earthly planet to entice Srimati Radharani to appear. And so she also appears in this earthly planet on the Ashtami day, the 8th day. Krishna appeared on the Ashtami, and Srimati Radharani appears 2 weeks later, and also on the Ashtami day. In the home of Vrishabhanu and Kirtita. Now there are different narrations of her actual appearance, and that is again explained by Acharyas because Krishna is appearing in every universe. There are different ways in which she appears. One of the common ways that we know is that Vrishabhanu and Kirtita, they were childless. And they were in some level of anxiety being childless. And once he was doing intense meditation in the Yamuna, and as he was doing his meditation, a lotus, 1,000-leaf lotus petal, touched him. And he woke up from his meditation. And within that lotus, within the world of the lotus, was a beautiful baby. And he thought, oh. And he quickly took that baby home. And he said, this is now our child, our daughter. But they had one anxiety that the baby was theirs, beautiful beyond compare. There's a narration of how Narada Muni went to take darshan, and he was stunned by her beauty. But she was not opening her eyes. She was not opening her eyes. So news came to good friends of Kirtida and Vrishabhanu, who were none other than Nandababa and Yashodamani. They were good friends. That a baby girl had appeared in their home, so they put Krishna on their back and said, let's go and take to the house of Kirtida. This is in Rava, nearby Gokul. And there, Krishna, as the Matajis were doing it, they do at times, they got into discussion, they lost track of the children, engaged in a discussion. And in this way, Kirtida and Mother Yashoda are discussing, and Krishna began to crawl out. And he crawled and he pulled himself up onto the crib of Srimati Radharani where she was sleeping, yet to have opened her eyes. And as soon as Krishna, when you get 2 kids together, 2 babies together, what do they do? They start and they grab him. So Krishna went and touched Srimati Radharani, and immediately her eyes opened. And she saw her beloved Lord Krishna. Actually, she made a statement in the spiritual world. She said that I'll come, but the only thing and the very first thing I want to see is you, Krishna. Then I'll come. So actually, Krishna manifested this. Fulfilled this desire of her. And so he came and she opened her eyes. And so this is how she appeared. Many other pastimes are there. But let us now shift to what and the role Srimati Radharani plays for all of us. So I asked the question earlier, how many of us want to be happy? I think everybody put their hands up. And I think everybody put their hands up and said they don't full happiness that they desire. Right? So why is that? So Srila Prabhupada explains that this pleasure-seeking nature of all of us, it is there because we are part and parcel of Krishna, who has the same pleasure-seeking nature, which is why Srimati Radharani manifested. But we have become mistaken trying to find happiness within this material world. And when we try to find happiness in this material world, we're simply going to be faced with all the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs of the material world. It is a place of Vikala and Nashashtra. That is the description of the Supreme Lord. And in the spiritual world, it is a place of Vaikuntha, free of miseries. They are reflections of each other. They are opposites. One is full of miseries, one is full of bliss. But we as spirit souls, we had a desire to try to experience life separate from Krishna. And thus we are experiencing all the tribulations of this world. But trying to experience life separate from Krishna, one way we can relate to that. What happens to a fish when they try to experience life separated from water? Are they happy? You can give the fish all the money in the world, all the jewels, all the fame. You can cast all kinds of blessings, anything you want. But when the fish is separated from water, what is his conditions? Very precarious. Because we are spirit soul. We are spirit soul. We are not this body. We are eternally connected to the Supreme Spirit. When we temporarily forget that connection, we are no different than a fish having lost its connection with water. It will be in a disturbed state. We might try to overcome that by acquiring more wealth, by acquiring more fame, more beauty, more strength, intelligence, all these things. But we know in the end, it doesn't satisfy us. Why? Because we are spirit trying to find happiness from matter. Spirit and matter do not mix. Inasmuch as oil and water don't mix, spirit and matter don't mix. It doesn't happen. But when the spirit soul reconnects with the Supreme Spirit, Lord Shri Krishna, then we find happiness. Just like that fish, as soon as you put it back into water, it swims off and it finds its natural state. Similarly, when we are connected to the Supreme Lord, then and only then will we find our peaceful state and achieve real happiness. There is no other way. Trust me, we have tried it. Billions of people before us have tried it, and billions in the future will try it. But nobody has found it. It doesn't exist. Because I am part and parcel of Krishna, I only have one constitutional position, and that is to be in a loving servant relationship with Krishna. So this is the means to solving all of our problems. You know, we come to the Lord and we tell Him all our problems. And we submit our wish list of if I had this, if I had that, if I had all these things, then I'd be happy. And lo and behold, sometime later we may even get some of those things or all of them. But what happens when we come back to the temple? We have another set of wish lists. Why? Because achieving what we had previously asked didn't solve our problems. Didn't give us the peace and happiness we were looking for. So we want more. And we submit our second list, and our third, and our million, and infinite, and it goes on. Because finding happiness from matter never exists. So our happiness comes from knowing Krishna. So then the question becomes, how to connect to Krishna? How to know Krishna? How to become His loving relationship with Him? How that happens? It happens only by the mercy of Srimati. Srimati Radharani is who connects us back to our Supreme Father. It is by her mercy that we understand our precarious position, and that we understand this loving relationship we have with our eternal Father, Shri Krishna. It is by her mercy that she begs Krishna, Krishna, your child is seeking to approach you. Yes, it is not perfect in his approach, but please accept him. Now what happens when Srimati Radharani asks Krishna to do something? He does it. Why? Because he has so much love for her. Whatever Srimati Radharani wants, Krishna gives. Even if it goes against what he wants, her desire trumps even his own desire. So if we come into the favor of Srimati Radharani, we are guaranteed to come into the favor of the Supreme Lord. Because Srimati Radharani has only one desire: to see all of us happy, free of all difficulties, all anxiety and fear. What mother does not want that for her child? Any mother doesn't want that for her child? In what extent a mother is willing to go to give their child happiness? Little bit of effort? Unimaginable effort. Our Supreme Mother, Srimati Radharani, is waiting to give all of us that mercy, so that we can get reconnected to our Supreme Father. Srila Prabhupada's father, when anyone would come carrying loads and buckets of blessings, he would ask for one blessing: make my son a devotee of Srimati Radharani. Because he knew if he pleased Srimati Radharani, guaranteed to please Krishna. So Srimati Radharani is the means by which we get connected to Krishna. That is why we always say, Radha Krishna. First Radha, then Krishna. Always. And so this is the position she plays, introducing us to the Supreme Lord. And because Srimati Radharani has so much love for her devotees, we also have to be very careful. We have to be careful of offending her devotees. Because nothing will upset her more. Right? Nothing upsets a mother more than when someone messes with her child. Right? You can mess with me, no problem. But don't mess with my child. That's a super good thing. I don't recommend it. But you can mess with her, but don't mess with one of her devotees. This is why we say Vaishnava Aparadha. 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 We are going against Srimati Radharani when we come in offenses to devotees. That is aparadha. So we should be very, very careful to take the shelter of Srimati Radharani, and also very careful not to make any offenses to the devotees. And with a humble state of mind, that is Krishna. And Srimati Radharani teaches us what is the meaning of this relationship of love with Krishna. Bhakti, I said, our only solution to all of our situation is bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. So what does bhakti mean? It is a selfless expression of our love to the Supreme Lord. Devotional service means I render service for the pleasure of Krishna and not for the pleasure of myself. Easier said than done. If it sounds easy, just peel a few layers back of that statement and you'll see. actually so much of the service I do is because I want to do it. Because I have this desire. I'm not thinking, what is it that Krishna wants from me? When I'm making nice, offerings for Krishna, I'm thinking only of myself, not about you. I'm thinking how nice this offering will taste after it's been offered to Krishna. Or, how somebody's going to compliment how nice this offering is. And the first thing in my mind is, I hope Krishna will be pleased with this offering. But that is actually the only part of devotional service. Everything else is the impurity. And Srimati Radharani teaches us this mood of pure, selfless service. What it means to only be focused on Krishna's happiness. So a devotee who is practicing this, and they understand that my service is to do whatever it takes to find what pleases Krishna most. If I am making chapatis in the kitchen, and the person next to me can make chapatis better than me, what I should do? Serve them so that they can make for the pleasure of Krishna. That is the consciousness that we should try to bring into our service. And if we obtain the mercy of Srimati Radharani, in this verse we see how the gopis are feeling. The gopis have been abandoned by Krishna. They were enjoying with Krishna and he has left them. What would our mood be if someone we love left us? We'd be hurt. We'd be upset. But then if we found out that someone we love is with someone else, how would we think of that other person? Doesn't they know how fallen they are, how much of a rascal they are? They would do all. But see the mood of the gopis. When Krishna has left them, for this particular gopi, what they say has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of God. They are glorifying Srimati Radharani. They're celebrating her successes, having achieved the fortune of Krishna having taken her to a private area. Instead of developing the mood of envy, seeing someone else advance in devotional service, seeing someone else get some service, they're celebrating, wow, this is the mood of the devotees who have received the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So we pray to Srimati Radharani that we can acquire the mood of devotional service that she is so perfectly exhibiting. We pray to her that we can receive her mercy so that we may become reconnected with our eternal Father, Lord Shri Krishna. Because this is the only means for us to find real happiness. And it is through her mercy that we can get connected. So this is the opportunity we have on this most glorious Radhastami. So I pray that we all can receive her mercy and make great progress in the process of our relationship. So I'd like to stop here and see if there are any comments or questions.